Okay, fellas, it is back for 2024, and that is going to be the annual casting Olympics that I do on my channel. And this year we have something extremely special because we're finally going to do something I've been wanting to do for years. That is do a cast battle between a bait caster and a spinning reel to see which one of them really casts farther. But to make things even more interesting, we're going to use a bait finesse bait caster and an ultralight spinning reel. Now, the first ever, I guess, official bait finesse video I ever uploaded was a tabletop review of the long discontinued Shimano Scorpion BFS, and I uploaded that on September the 1st, 2017. Now, since then, I've uploaded hundreds of BFS videos, and in the comments of these videos, especially in the beginning of my channel, you always saw people commenting that, you know, a spinning reel is gonna cast farther and better than a bait caster, especially for light lures. Now, the people who made these comments are people who obviously have never owned, let alone casted a bait finesse reel, let alone casted one side by side, a spinning reel, to see which one actually casts farther. All they're doing is repeating things they saw people say on the internet in hopes to look smart. Now, I'm pretty confident that in all my hundreds of bait finesse videos that I've uploaded, I have never once said that a bait finesse reel will outcast a spinning reel. And that's because I didn't know. I've never casted them side by side on the water. I've never taken them out to the casting field. So in my mind, spinning reels just might cast light lures farther than BFS reels. But today we're going to find out. Now, it's taken me this long to, I guess, do this cast battle because when I first thought of doing it, I went online to look for two equal rods. So that means finding a bait cast rod and a spinning rod that's the same length, same power, same lure rating, same action. And here in America, you're not going to find that. If you actually find a spinning rod and a casting rod that's the same length and power, they almost always have different tapers and different lure ratings. But thanks to an error by LEWS on AliExpress, I was finally able to make this happen. So let's get into it. Now, it's probably been well over 5 years ago when I placed an order for this rod right here. This is the LEWS Delicacy bait casting rod. Now, I placed the order for a bait casting rod, but by mistake, LEWS sent me this, the spinning rod version of the Delicacy. Now, it took some back and forth, but a few months later, they finally sent me the bait cast model. Now, the thing about rods on AliExpress is that they often take the same blank and they use it for both spinning and bait cast models. So basically, you take the same blank, put a spinning reel handle, spinning guides, and then you have your spinning model. And then, of course, with the bait cast model, you put the bait cast components on it, and then it's the bait cast model. But they're the exact same length, same power, same action, same lure rating. So this is what gives us the even playing field to see which type of reel is the better caster. Now, I'm gonna show this to you guys. As you can see, it's the Delicacy C602, so that's a 6-foot 2-piece. C stands for casting. And this rod comes with two tips, lure rating 0.6 to 8 grams, or with the heavier tip 0.8 to 10 grams. And with the spinning, it is the exact same. So you see, it says S602, S for spinning, and then the lure rating is the exact same. And I use the lighter tip for both, and on this particular rod line, the lighter tip is a solid tip that looks to be made of fiberglass. And you can see where it transitions from the graphite to the fiberglass. And yeah, so because of this, no reel is going to have an advantage when it comes to rod length or action or power. And that's important because the rod is probably responsible for at least, I would say, 60 to 70% of casting. So now that I've shown you the rods that I used, let's go over the line and the lures real quick. Now the line I used was this Bass Pro Shops Crappie Max monofilament 6 pound. Now normally I would use 4 pound, but I figured I'd go 6 pound as a nice in between 4 and 8. So you're kind of in that happy medium between, I guess, a BFS bass poundage versus dipping into the trout line poundage. Now, since I wanted to be thorough, I casted 2 different lures. The first one being this sinking little jerkbait that weighs almost 4 grams. And then the second lure is going to be a much lighter little floating jerkbait, this Bagley minnow that weighs almost half as much, I think at like 2.1 grams. And this has a couple of rattles in it, but this is not a, I guess, super weighted lure, so casting this lure is always a challenge, and it's going to be interesting to see the results on this, because of course the general consensus is that when it comes to the really light stuff, spinning should be better. So now of course it's time to show you guys the reels that took place in this monumental historic cast battle. Now representing Bait Finesse Baitcasters is the current all-around king of BFS reels. Then of course it's going to be Shimano's 22 ALDEBARAN BFS. It's a reel that can long cast heavy lures with ease, as well as handle the really light stuff with equal ease as well. Now representing ultralight spinning, I chose the cheapest Shimano spinning reel available, and that is the Shimano Sienna in a 500 size. Now the original plan was to use a 1000 size because not every, I guess, model of spinning reel comes in a size as small as 500, but when it came down to actually going to the store and purchasing one, the only size available was 500. And I think, I could be wrong on this, but I think the only difference between a 500 and a 1000 size spinning reel is going to be probably a rotor diameter, or spool diameter I should say. Now, being the cheapest Shimano spinning reel, it's not going to have all the fancy gearing and this and that, but it does have Shimano's, I guess, propulsion spool that has the angled, I guess, lip for longer casting. But yeah, for spinning duties, I chose the cheapest Shimano, and that of course is going to be the Sienna, which is available at pretty much all Walmarts across America. Now, since I'm the most thorough tackle tester on YouTube, I was actually planning on buying a very small spin cast reel and throw that into the mix as well. But unfortunately I couldn't find a really small spin cast reel for sale on its own. They're always put with a rod and reel combo, and I didn't really want to spend that kind of money on a spin cast reel that I would probably just throw away. So what I did instead was I chose to include a budget BFS baitcaster, and the reel I chose was the Shanghi Lingle 2. Now why did I choose the Lingle 2 out of all the other, I guess, cheaper budget BFS reels? Well, probably the best spec'd out of the lot as far as spool size and spool weight. And in fact, this has a significantly lighter spool than the Shimano ALDEBARAN, and it's a little bit bigger as well. So yeah, we have 3 reels participating: an expensive, almost $300 JDM BFS reel, a $70 budget AliExpress BFS reel, and a $29 available at all Walmarts ultralight spinning reel. So let's see what happens with the heavier lure first. Alright, so are you guys ready to see the results of the heavier 4-gram lure battle? Well, let's not beat around the bush. And pow! Coming in a shock first place is going to be the budget bait finesse reel from AliExpress, the Lingle 2, with an average of 106.58 feet, which was a clear and decisive win over the much more expensive second place Shimano ALDEBARAN that averaged 103.36 feet. But I think the biggest surprise and shock here is that the Shimano Sienna 500 came in a distant last place with an average of 96.30 feet. So the first place Lingle beat the Sienna by like 10 feet, while the ALDEBARAN beat it by like 7 feet. Now, there's probably going to be a lot of people angrily typing in the comments saying things like, well, if you used braided line instead of mono, then the spinning reel would have this and that, this and that. Now, I wasn't going to sit there and spend a ton of money buying enough braided line to do this battle. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a link pinned in the comments section to a YouTuber that actually already did a field cast battle between the CURADO BFS and one of his spinning reels using braided line, and I think his channel is called Be Random Fishing. And go check out that video after you watch mine and look at his results. Now, it's been a while since I've seen that video and I don't remember which one won, but go check that out. I think you'll be very surprised. Now, it is time to show you the battle with the ultralight lure, the lure that supposedly should be dominated by the ultralight spinning reel. So let's check it out. Alright guys, you ready for the results of the ultralight lure battle? Boom! Check that out. Coming in first place once again was the $70-ish budget bait finesse reel from AliExpress, the Shanghai Lingle 2, with an average of 73.74 feet, just barely edging out the mighty Shimano ALDEBARAN BFS that averaged 73.13 feet. And both of the BFS reels easily beat the last place Shimano Sienna 500, which averaged 62.31 foot. So we're looking at least a 10 foot or 3 yard casting advantage for the bait finesse reels. Now this was a shocker because I thought that the spinning reel would easily win this particular battle, but not only did it not win, it was demolished by the bait finesse reels. Now, if there's any butt-triggered hater out there that disputes these results or just wants to dismiss this video evidence, I'm gonna tell you, just like I've told the shills, the fanboys, the haters since day one, you're always welcome to buy all 3 reels, buy all the recording equipment, go out to the field, run the battle yourself, edit the video, upload it to YouTube, and show us what you got. And to this day, 0 people have done it. Now, before we wrap up this video with my thoughts and observations, let's do this. If you want to see this same cast battle done, but with regular bait casters and I guess a regular size spinning reel like a 2500, I'm gonna need 1,000 likes. If I get 1,000 likes, I'll take, I guess, an average bass fishing bait caster, maybe like a METANIUM or something, and then I'll get a budget bait caster as well, and I will put it up against a 2500 size spinning reel, throwing, I guess, normal size bass lures, and we can see what's what. Now, some observations that I had when doing this battle was that the Mablow's Delicacy is not a, I guess, a very precise casting rod, at least not with the ultralight tip that I used. Took a little bit of getting used to just how noodly the rod is. I'm used to, you know, faster, more precise actions. But if I used the heavier tip, I don't think it would have. But if I used the heavier and stiffer tip, I still don't think it would have changed the results. With the spinning reel, the friction created by the line having to loop through all the guides, I think, is probably what sealed its fate. So that would apply to both mono and fluorocarbon. Now with braid, once again, you're gonna have to go watch B Random's video, which I pinned to the comment section. I still think you have that problem, but it's just not as pronounced as with the fluoro and the mono. But yeah, looks like all the anti-BFS guys, or the guys who just don't understand why people use BFS, why don't you just use spinning? It works better. You can buy any old cheap spinning reel and outcast a BFS reel. Looks like you guys were proven wrong. Alright guys, thanks a lot.